So far, we have looked at how exactly we can create our variable. We have talked about different data types and usage of the data types. In case if you have not checked that out, check out the previous videos on this playlist. In this video, we'll be understanding what exactly are the conditional statements and when we need to use them and how we need to use them. Now let's understand the conditional statements with a board game. Now let's say you're playing a board game. Now you are just 6 steps away. That means you need 6 on the die face to win the game. Now, if you roll the die, it could be any of these values that you might see on the die face. If you get 6, that is where you'll be declared as the winner. Now, if that is not the case, either you have to wait for your turn, the other person might get a number which might make him the winner. Now, if I have to put this into words, this is how it looks like. If the die value is equals 6, then I'll be declared as winner. If that is not the case, either my winning is delayed or other person might win. Now, if you see this condition, so this condition that I have could be true or false on a given scenario. Now, if I simply roll a die, it could be 6 or it could be 1, it could be 2, it could be anything, right? Between 1 to 6, it could be anything. If it is 6, then I'll win. Now, what we can see from this exercise is whatever the condition that we have here is giving a true or a false. That means it is like, think of your conditional statements as a diamond box. Yes, in case if you are relating it to the flowchart, that is where we are heading. You can pretty much use the understanding that you have in the flowchart. So in this diamond or in this decision box, you would have a condition. As of now, if I have to win, the condition that I have to get or the condition that I have here is the die value should be 6. Now it has two outcomes. Either it could be true. If I roll the die, the outcome could be 6 or it could not be 6. So if the die value is 6, then I'll be declared as a winner. If that is not the case, maybe I'll continue the game, right? So this is how the process would go. So if you see here, we have true outcome and a false outcome. Let's see how can we put this condition that we have in the flow chart in the form of our Apex code, and then we'll understand how can we put this condition in our anonymous window and execute and see the output. Now, if you see here, the condition that we have is the die value should be 6. So now what I have done here is the die value is an variable here. Again, we are going to the concept of variable. Why? Because I do not know what would be the value that I'll be getting. So a person would be rolling that die, and then upon seeing the result, this value would be decided. For time being, since I do not have that option of rolling the die, let's assume that a random value would be generated here for time being. Now let's say this value could be anything between 1 to 6. Now, if the die value is 6, that is where I wanted to print a condition or print a message in our debug log saying, congratulations, it is 6. Or you can pretty much write a statement or a debug log which says, congratulations, you have won the game. Now let's understand what is the syntax for it. Now I have a variable which can go with values from 1 to 6. Now I need to check if that value is 6 or not. So whatever the value that is here, if that is 6, then I'll be declared as a winner. So this value would be changing every time when I'm rolling the die. Now what I need to check is if the value of the die is equals 6. Now can I write directly equals to? The answer is no. Because if you remember the previous class discussion that we had, this is nothing but your assignment operator. What is the job of the assignment operator? It assigns the right-hand side value to your left-hand side variable. Now, we cannot use this one. We do not want to assign 6 to this die value. We wanted to compare the die value, whether that is equal to 6 or not. That is where we have this operator called comparator. What is the job of this comparator? It checks if the left-hand side value is equal to the right-hand side value. Think of this comparator as a balance. Now, this balance would be pointing at the center if the weights in these two pans are equal. If any of these things are not equal, if I'm adding 1 more kg here, the balance would not be pointing to the center. There would be a tilt that would happen. Same thing applies here. If both weights are equal, it would give us true. And if that is not the case, if any of these things are not matching, it would give us false. I wanted to check if the value that we have on the die face is equal to 6 or not. Anything apart from 6, this pointer would not be pointing to the center, right? So if that is true, if this value is 6, that is where this condition would be set to true. What is the job of this if condition is the condition that you write inside your small brackets, if that evaluates to be true, that is where the logic that you have in this curly braces would be executed. So as of now, I have a single line of code, which is nothing but the system debug. If there are multiple lines, if logic entire block would be executed. Now, if you see here, I'm calling this section as a block. You can consider a thing as a block if you have a starting curly brace and an ending curly brace, and you can write multiple statements within it. Now I'm calling it as an entire if block. The reason being it is accompanied by if. So it is like ifs block. So whatever that I'm writing here belongs to if. If you see here, if the condition here is matching, that means if it is returning as true, the entire if block would be executed depending on the code that you write here. If this returns as false, this entire if block that we have would be skipped. So imagine the controller comes here, it would evaluate this condition. If that is true, it would execute all the lines that we have within the if. If this condition is returning as false, this controller would simply jump to the next line that is after your if block. So if there is some other lines that are there, system would start executing them. So anything that is inside your if block would be completely skipped. It is simply saying that if you have not got 6, you have not won the game. So you need to continue playing the game, right? This is how your if syntax would look like. You would write your if within small brackets, you would write your condition. Always remember that this condition should return true or false. That means whatever this condition is returning is a Boolean value. If the condition is returning as true, so that is where your if block would be executed. If small brackets, within the small brackets, you would write the condition. Condition would be returning true or false value depending on your logic. And within the curly braces, you would write your logic that you want to perform when the condition of your if is satisfied. That is your if block. What if you want to convey the player that they have to still continue the game if they have not got the 6? That is where else block comes into picture. What is else block? In case if your if logic is not satisfied and you want to execute a logic, that is where your else block comes into picture. If this condition is not true and you wanted to execute a bunch of logic, that is where you can put that into your else block. If the die value is not 6, if you want to convey to the user saying that try again next time, or maybe something better luck next time, or some kind of a message if you want to show them, that is where you can use your else block, right? So I'm using a system debug just to help us understand what can we put in here. Now let's go back to our Salesforce org and see how can we put that into our anonymous window and see how it would work. Now I am on my anonymous window. So let's go ahead and write our code. Like I've said, since we do not have a die here, I'm creating a variable called integer with name die value. This is something that I'll manually set for time being. I have created a variable called die value and I'm setting the value as 5. So there would be a memory block that would be created. The name of the memory block is called as die value and I've set the value as 5. Now what I wanted to check is, so if the user is getting the dice values as 6, that is where they'll win. Now I'm using the concept called if condition check if the die value is. So I'm putting a single line comment here. In case if you want to add some more information, you can go ahead and do that. So as of now, I'm comfortable understanding what exactly I'm checking here. So I've written that single line comment there. So this is how I would typically write my if block. So I'll write if first, then put 2 small brackets. Then I'll complete my if block by adding this curly braces, start curly brace and curly brace. Then I'll hit an enter. So now what happens is I have an entire if block. Now what I have is I have a start of my if block and an end of my if block, and this is properly closed. So if you see here, I have the entire if block structure here. The advantage of writing this way is you do not have to worry about where exactly your if block is closing. So when you start with your if block start and close at the same time, you do not have to worry where exactly your end of your if block is, whether you have properly closed or not. So that would not be a concern if you do this process. What we have discussed here is within the small brackets, I need to write the condition. What is my condition if my die value is 6 or not? I need to ask the system. So if I'm writing single equal to, that means I'm assigning the right hand side value to my left hand side variable. So that is not what I want. I want to compare what is there on the left hand side with the right hand side value. So I'm taking the help of my comparator operator, which is double equals, and I'm asking the system, is the left hand side value is equals to the right hand side value? If yes, go ahead and execute the logic that I have in my if block. So what is the logic that I'm writing here? I'm printing a debug log just to see if this if block is executed or not. So what I'll say, you win. So this is a simple conditional statement that we have written. So this is a small snippet of code where in which we have used our if log. So now let's go ahead and execute it. Remember checking this checkbox so that way you do not have to go to the logs tab and open the debug log. So I'll click on execute highlighted. Our debug log has been generated. Now if you see here, our variable has been created and we have assigned value called 5 to it. Now when I check for the debug logs, I do not see anything. When I check this checkbox, debug only, I do not see anything. The reason for that is since this condition is not met, so the system came here, it has created the variable. So this is how it looks like in the memory blocks. And it has ignored this line number 2 because it's a commented line. So single line comment it would ignore. So next it has checked on line number 3. It has checked on line number 3. The value that we have in the die value is 5. Why? Because when we ask the system to go ahead and get this value, it would go to the memory block, check what is the value that is there. So it has checked the value as 5. So it has replaced with 5. Is 5 equal to 6? The answer is no. So the comparison is returning as false. So this entire if block has been skipped. Now, how can I prove that the entire if block is skipped or not? A simple check is your debug log is not printed. And how can I say this entire if block has been skipped? So I'll go ahead and write another debug at the end of this if block to see if this line has been printed or not. So now I've added another line at line number 6 with a simple debug log saying debug on line 6. The debug statement it says debug on line 6. Now if I execute this logic, you will see this line number 6 as a debug log, but you'll not see this line number 4. So this is the latest debug log. If I ask the system to show me only the debug logs, I'll be seeing this debug log that says debug on line number 6, which is this one. So this debug log is not been printed. Now for a change, what I'll do here is I'll change this die value as 6. Now what would happen this time upon execution? The die value becomes 6. Is 6 equals 6? Yes, it is. This time this debug log would be printed along with this debug log. Because our if block is starting here and it is ending here, whatever that is there inside it, it would be executed depending on whatever the logic that you write, it would execute those statements accordingly. Now we would be seeing 2 debug logs according to the latest changes that I've done on this code. Let's quickly test that out. Now I'll select this code, or you can directly click on execute since we do not have any specific code that we are running. We're running the entire code. So that is where you'll get the latest debug log. This is the latest debug log that we have got. I'm interested in only debug statements only. I'll check this checkbox, and that is where you will see this output which says on line number 4 we have a debug which says you win, and on line number 6 we have a debug which says debug on line number 6. Now this is how you can make use of your if condition. If this thing is true, then execute this entire piece of code. Now in addition to this one, what if I want to convey to the users saying that if their die value is not equal to 6, I want to convey them saying that maybe try again next time or better luck next time. So how can I do that? So that is where else logic comes into picture. So we have if logic. This would only execute if this value is set to true. So what should happen when this logic is not set to true? Maybe there might be a requirement for you where in which you need to execute the negative statement. So if this is not true, then go ahead and execute these statements. So in case if you have such requirements, that is where you can go ahead and write your else block. So what is this else block? Else block and if block are kind of enemies. So if one executes, the other would not execute. If block is executing, else block will not execute. If else block is executing, if block will not be executing. So if you see here, I'll simply write else. So this is the syntax of your else. Simply write else, start of your curly brace, end of your curly brace. Hit enter, and you can go ahead and write your logic that you want to execute in your else block. So if this is not true, if this condition is not true, if you want to convey to the user saying that maybe better luck next time, you can go ahead and write it down here. Now if you see here, instead of not showing anything, we are conveying something to the users. So at times there would be scenarios where in which you need to execute a bunch of lines. If this condition is true, you need to execute another set of instructions when the condition is not set to true. So that is where you can use your if and else block. A simple example for this if and else goes like this. So let's say you are going for a match and you want to flip a coin to decide who should bat first, and you would be either seeing heads or tails. Now, if you flip a coin and if you call it heads, and if you like to bat first, so if it is heads, you will go ahead and do the batting. If it is tails, you will go ahead and do the bowling. So if you see, there is a certain set of instructions that you're following. If it is heads, you're going to bat first. If it is tails, the other person wins the toss and you'll be doing the bowling. So there is a different set of activities that you're doing depending on the outcome of the action that you're doing. Same thing applies here. So if it is 6, then you will win, else you repeat the process again. So that is how we can make use of your if and else. There are two possible outcomes, and if you have two different activities that you need to do, that is where you would use if and else logic. Now, if I run this logic again, so I'll be seeing the results in the debug log. I'll be seeing different set of debug statements in the debug log. Pause this video and guess which line would turn up in our debug log. Is it debug statement on line number 4, debug statement on line number 7? And by now you might have guessed it right. So you will pretty much get this debug log on line number 9, irrespective of what is the output that we have. Now let's execute this code and see what is the output. I'm clicking on execute here. So now I have got the latest debug log. So I'm interested in only debugs only. So I'll keep this checkbox checked. So now if you see here, since the die value is 5, it is not matching this condition. So this entire if block is skipped. Now I'm executing this else block. Remember, we have talked about if and else are like two different opposite. So if block is executed, else would keep calm. If is not executed, else would be executed. If you see here, we are displaying this debug statement. It says better luck next time. And obviously line number 9 has been executed here, which says debug on line number 9. So this is how you can use your if and else logic. What if we do not have two outcomes? So if you see here, we have discussed about heads and tails. If you see, this is one outcome and this is another outcome. Now, what if you have multiple outcomes? Let's say a simple example could be our die example. Let's say if you roll a die, the outputs that you might get would be one of these values. If you have a certain set of activities that you need to do for a specific outcome that you get, then how can you do it? So let's say a simple example that I can take it as of now is, if I roll a die and see that output as 1, I want to print the value as, I want to print a debug statement saying that the die value is 1 in words. If it is 2, same story, I want to print a debug statement saying the die value is 2. If it is 3, I want to print this debug statement saying the die value is 3, and so on till 6. Now this values would depend on what is my die value. If I change this value, my code should remain as it is, but whatever the output that I'm putting it here, so if I set it as 3, this debug statement which says die value is 3 should be printed. So that is the requirement. Feel free to pause this video and give it a try. In case if you do not get it, do not worry. We'll continue this video in which we'll see how exactly we can code this. In 3, 2, 1, we'll get started. Now we need to come up with a code in which we can satisfy this requirement. I hope you have got the answer. In case if you have not got it, do not worry. Follow along and we'll see how to code this requirement. So this is the requirement in which we are printing the die value or the dice value. Now let's see how to go about it. Now I'm just copying this integer again, since it's a different code. I'll just comment this code so that we do not get confused here. So this is our die value which would be changing. So since we do not have an option from 1 to 6, I'll be, for every execution, I might change this value. Now I need to write some code here. So that way, whatever the value that I'm passing here, it should be checked and the corresponding debug log should be printed. What should be the debug statement? It should simply say die value is, if this die value is 5 here. Right? We are taking the number and printing the string that we have in our debug statement. If you see here, this is the same requirement that we have done previously, which is nothing but checking the condition. If that is true, we are executing a line in our if statement. So I hope most of you have got it right. In case if you have got it right, congratulations. In case if you have not got it right, so there is always a chance for learning a new thing. So now what I'll do is I'll simply write an if block for the first one. What is the first condition that I need to check? If the die value is if the die value is 1. If yes, go ahead and print the debug log. Go ahead and print the debug statement which says, here is a tip. Always, half of the time your requirement is pretty much in the statement that you are reading out. So if you see here, I've written this code. In case if I've written down what exactly I need to do, I can pretty much code from there. Simple example here is, so this is my requirement. So I can simply write if die value is equals 1, I need to print a debug statement which says die value is 1. Second one is if my die value is equal to 2, then I have to print a debug log which says die value is 2, right? So pretty much I can, what exactly I'm reading out, if I can put that on paper and then think about how can I convert this into the logic. Now if you see here, since we have understood how can we proceed with this one, so what I'll do is I'll simply copy paste this. Now why am I copy pasting it? Because once you have understood the logic, you can copy paste them and simply tweak them a little so that it satisfies your condition. So you do not have to write it again. This is a bonus when you are writing your code. You can always use your copy paste option. So now last but not the least, now if you see here, our code is pretty much ready. So if I change the die value, accordingly it would check. So upon execution, system would check which if condition it needs to execute and it would print the debug log accordingly. Now since the other code is commented out, so we can click on execute here. Now if you see here, we got a debug log that was generated. So I'm interested in debug logs only. Now if you see here, line number 28 got printed, which is in our code, which is this if block debug statement which says die value is 5. Why this if block has been executed? Since my die value is 5. So now let's do the process of understanding how exactly our Salesforce would process this piece of code that we have written. Now let's go by step. So initially it would execute this line number 13 because rest all codes are commented out. So it would execute this line number 30 and in the memory block it would create a variable called die value or dice value, whatever that you think is apt. It would basically create a memory block with dice value as 5. Now we do not have anything on line number 14. So on line number 15, it would go ahead and check this condition. Since it has an if block, it knows that it has to check this condition. So what we are asking the system, get us the die value here. So it would replace this die value with 5 because that is what we have in the memory block. Now we are asking, is 5 value is equal to 1? The answer is no. So the output that we got is false. So this entire if block would be skipped. What would happen? It would execute line number 18. So line number 16 is not been executed. So on line number 18, what we are asking the system to check, again, we are asking the system is 5 value is equal to 2 or not. So this output is again false. This entire if block is not executed. It would proceed with line number 21. Same story, is 5 equals 3? Answer is no, the outcome is false. It would proceed with the next lines. So what we have on the next line? Now if you see here, we are asking the Salesforce to proceed with the execution. Let me quickly clear out this one. So we have done till this line number 23. So let's go ahead and understand the rest part. So now our system would execute line number 24. We're asking the system, is 5 value is equal to 4? Again, the outcome here is false. This entire if block is not executed. It would go ahead with the line number 27 execution. So now we are asking the system, is die value is equal to 5 or not? Yes, it is. So this outcome is true here. So it would execute this entire block. So that is why if you see here, the line number 28 is been coming up in the debug log. And so this statement is executed. Here is where the entire if block is there. Here comes the interesting thought here. Pause this video and tell me whether system would execute this line number 30 or not. If you think line number 30 would be executed by the system, put I like SFTC quest. In case if you think it is otherwise, put we love SFTC. Now in 3, 2, 1, I'll reveal the answer. Now the question is whether the system would execute line number 30 or whether the system would check this condition or not. Now how can we check that? Or how can we see if that has been executed or checked or not? Ideally, system would go ahead and check this condition also, because there is no specific instruction that is given to the system to skip this one if the condition is met here. So our functionality is pretty much done in this section, because if the die value is 5, our job is to print this debug log, and that is done. But because of the code that we have written here, our line number 30 is also being executed. It is checked for this condition. Now, what would happen if this condition is checked? Will it print this debug log? The answer is no. Because is 5 value is equal to 6? The answer is no. This debug log, so this debug log on line number 31 would not be executed. If that was executed, we would have seen a line here. But that is not the case here. Now, why we are discussing about line number 31, or why we are talking about line number 30? Now, if you see here, our requirement is pretty much done on line number 28. If our requirement is already done, what is the point of asking the system to execute line number 30? Or at least why we are asking the system to execute line number 30 to check the condition? So our condition is already done. So now what is happening here is we are asking the system to execute something that is not necessary. Now, if you might be thinking, what difference does it make? Now, the answer relies in the performance. When you are running a huge code, things like this would add on to the time for the entire transaction. Such transactions, if they're executed unnecessarily, it would add up to the total time, and you would see a transaction being little slower side. Why? Because system is unnecessarily spending time in executing things that are not necessary. So that means in terms of functionally, we are 100% done. So if I change the value, you would see the debug logs accordingly. Feel free to pause the video. In case if you have already written the code, feel free to try that out. If you see here, the functionality wise, we are 100%. We are done. But in terms of performance, we are kind of lagging here. Now think of a scenario like this. What if our die value is 2? Now what would happen? System would come here. So since this is not true, it would not execute this if block. It would go with this if block that I've highlighted right now. Since the die value is 2, so this debug log would be printed. And will the system stop here? The answer is no. It would continue to execute this if blocks to check if this conditions, if the condition is true, it would execute, else it would not. So here, functionality that we are asked to build is satisfied here, but system is wasting its time to check these conditions, which is not necessary. So 1, 2, 3, 4 conditions have been checked, even though there is no need for it. Now, how to fix this one? So that is where we got this logic called else if. What is this else if logic? Else if logic basically came into picture to avoid the scenarios. If the first condition is satisfied, we do not want the rest of the code to be executed. If that is not the case, then we want the system to execute the second piece of code to check if the condition is satisfied. If that is satisfied, we do not want the rest all piece of code to be executed. If that is not the case, we want to proceed with the third one. So we wanted to check if that condition is satisfied. If yes, go ahead and execute that logic. If not, if that is not the case, then go ahead and execute the other pieces. If I have to put that in a diagrammatic way, we're checking for 1. If 1 is not true, then we are going to 2. If that is not the case, then we are checking for 3. If that is not the case, we are checking for 4. If that is not the case, we are checking for 5. And if that is not the case, we are checking for 6. So this is how we are proceeding. And if we want to put it same way here, let's say if I'm doing this exercise manually, if I have 5 rooms, example, if I have 5 rooms, and if I'm searching for, let's say, my mobile phone. So in one of these rooms, I have my mobile phone. So now what I will do, I'll start with this first room. I'll go ahead and check it there. If I find my phone, I'll stop this process of searching. If that is not the case, then I'll go to the second room, start searching for that. If I found my mobile, I'll stop this process here. If not, I'll continue. Now, if you see here, the process depends on whether I find my phone or not. If I find my phone, that is where I'll stop the process. If I want to put that same logic into my Apex code, that is where I'll be using else if. So how is this else if different? Is it a new thing that we are learning? Answer is pretty much yes and no. So once I write this code, you tell me in the chat window how easy is it to write your else if logic. I'm writing else and giving a space to the condition that I have. If this is not true, else, then check for a condition. If this is not true, else, check for this condition. Now, if you see here, I've written else for this last condition also. Why? Because I wanted to convey to the user in case if there is anything that is apart from these values. So let's say by mistake I've given a value as 7, which is not something that my code is handling. So what I'll simply say, I'll say because the dice would not, a single die would not have anything more than 6. So that is why I'm saying, in case if I have given something a random value like 20, which is not handled by my code. So what I'm doing, simply putting an else statement saying that this is not being handled, or this is not something that is coming under this dice scope, right? You can write any message here. If none of the above conditions are met, so that is where your else block will be executed. So if I execute this logic this time, you will not see the difference in the debug log. You will not see the difference in the debug log. You will not see the difference in the output or in the debug statement that we'll be looking at. But the way the system process this latest code would be different. It is little optimized from the previous one. So now let's quickly go ahead and execute this one. I'll click on execute highlighted. And if I check for only debug logs only here, since that is my point of interest, you would not see any much of a difference. Die value is 2, right? So pretty much earlier it was 5, now it is 2. Pretty much the functionality remains same, so it is working as expected. In order to test this logic, what I'll do is I'll make this statement line number 21 as like this. So instead of writing 3, I'll change it as 2. Why am I doing it? If the theory that I'm teaching you is correct, so the system would come here, check for this condition since that is not true. So die value is 2. Is 2 equals 1? The answer is no. It will not execute this if block. It would go to the next else if block that we have. Is die value is equal to 2? Yes, it is. So this entire else if block is been executed. This line number 19 has been executed. Line number 20 is been executed. So that is the end of our else if block. If the theory that I'm teaching you is correct, it would skip the entire conditions that we have here till the else part. So till this point it would skip and it would execute this debug statement that I'm writing at the end, right? So this is what would happen. So in order to test this theory, I'm just changing the condition that I have on line number 21. It is an intentional change. I know it is something that we are not trying to achieve, but it is an intentional change to help you understand this logic of how exactly our else if would work. Now what I'll do, I'll go ahead and execute this logic. Now in case if you want to guess it, pause the video and guess the result. In 3, 2, 1, I'll reveal the answer. So I'll click on execute so that way you do not have to confuse about the numbers. So our debug log is generated. So this is our latest code. So if I check for debugs only, so if you see here, system came, executed this line number 13. So the die value is 2. So it checked for this condition. This is not true. It has skipped it. It has executed line number 18. So this is true. So that is why you see the debug log as line number 19. Die value is 2. And here is where the execution ended. So even though there is a matching condition on line number 21, that is not being executed because else if is designed in a way, if one of the else if block or one of the if condition is satisfied, it would skip the other else if conditions that are below it. So if this condition, if one condition is satisfied, it would skip the other conditions that are below it. So it would not consider any of these conditions that you have written here. So that way system would not spend much of a time executing them. It would simply execute the line that is after your else. So if you see here, line number 36 is printed. If you see, line number 36 has been printed, which says debug on line number 36. So that is how you can write your code efficiently. Do not focus only on the functionality. Always think them as two wheels for a bike to run properly. Focus on your functionality as well as your overall performance of your code. So if you write a code, it should not take ages to complete it. So that is how you can use your else if function. So with that, we have completed our if, else, and else if blocks. Now things to note is your if block can stand independently. Your else block is something that cannot go independent. In case if you want to write your else block, always make sure that you are associating it with your if block. But that is not the case with your if block. If can go independently. So I do not need to write any else block if I'm writing my if block. But if there is an else, there should be an if that should be there at the top of.